Yep, yep. Here we go. Oh, yeah.
Now, what do you bring to the table? All I hear every day is, well, who's our commissioner over here?
They have no idea.
They don't even know who the commissioner is. And you were there before I was
So
there.
they never had to work.
You know, so my thing is, I'm out in the community, I talk to the residents.
Now,
and
we
wanna
just
get things
had,
done.
the first question that I wanted to ask you is, what is the 185th district? What does it cover? And what does it do for the constituent? So in other words, when a constituent has a question, what kind of questions do they bring to that table?
Okay, so great question. So the 185th district covers Hallwyn, Sharon Hill, Darby Township, Ward 1 and 2, parts of Southwest Philadelphia, and parts of South Philadelphia.
Okay.
The one response that I will give that will encompass all that my role will represent or should represent is bringing the concerns of the constituents to Harrisburg.
Okay.
So that's the one word response. So whatever concerns there are from the constituents, my job is to make sure that I advocate for that.
Okay. So now that the people know what it does, we have a few things in this community that we've been talking about with the commissioner, with Commissioner Marvin Smith, and that we've been talking about with one another. One of them will start because we're right here. We have beautiful park and recreational area in Darby Townships, Ward 1 and 2, but they're underutilized because they're not, I'm going to say, up to par. So, for instance, we're at the creek. We have a creek that runs from Linden in Ward 2 to Tribbett in Ward 1 that needs to be, like, really revamped. I'm told we go to the watershed, but we really just don't know what to do. Could that 185th seat help us begin to understand how to implement these plans to get certain things done for us? Because I know you don't do it all. Sometimes we got to go to other people, but we need to know where do we go and how do we do it.
Right. Another great question. One of the things that I love about operating in this role is my background, being a community advocate and community development. I have a master's in that. However, I have a lot of experience in it. And you'll be surprised how much work can be done if we just
Can
learn
you
how
tell
to...
the people how many years you have in that business?
20 years community related experience. So that involves nonprofit work. I have a certification in grief counseling. I'm a former teacher. I am an AIDS counselor. I have started and founded my own nonprofit, Empower Community Development Corporation, which we focused on seniors. And
Can you give us that website or any information attached to that so that people can check it out?
so actually right now Empowered is going through a construction period because there's been a lot of hiccups with the leadership. So I will say it's still
So
visible.
you might be
They
looking
can
for
find it.
volunteers.
They maybe is because I have been removed from leadership with Empowered since 2016 when I took over an opportunity offered by the mayor of Philadelphia working with community schools. So, but we're on Facebook and they do have a website still, and we still can be found on digital media. So you will see the formation and the different types of services and stuff that we offer. So what I will say is with that particular background, the first thing I would do anyway would make sure that all voices come together with the common goal of figuring out how we can erect this particular creek. Because to your point, it's not a state thing specifically. It's not even a local municipality or
And
even a
it
government.
travels through a lot of different governmental areas because
Exactly.
it's nature.
Exactly.
We don't own it.
So we need to learn how to work together. And one of the things I believe is one of my strongest characteristics is understanding the importance of people power. Human capital is so amazing, and I know I speak a lot from that social service voice, but because I know it's effective. Even working in politics and working for the mayor, we were able to do some amazing things just with people politics, having conversations and understanding that regardless of your socioeconomic background, or your educational background, everybody has something to offer. So an example of such might be, to your original question, would be having a community member, but instead of having a meeting where people just like to talk and just kind of hear themselves talk a lot and complain or talk about how great they are in a particular position, I'm a hands-on person. So it's all about, you know what, when you're inviting somebody somewhere, your time is of value, so make it worth their time.
Right.
So have solution-driven,
I call them action committees.
that's what you need.
You do.
And guess
Because
what?
we can talk all day.
You could talk all day, but give people the tools they need to be empowered. And we oftentimes tend to kick people out of the room because of what we think they have. And then because there's so many untapped resources in our own
I think
community.
that's where our weaknesses are. We really don't know about the untapped resources because I know they there.
They're there.
I know
Everybody
they
has
are.
value.
Exactly.
You're living on purpose. There's breath in you for a reason. So we need to help people utilize that and let them know you stay at the table. One of our biggest deterrents and problems, I would say, in our community is our emotions keep us from the table. And we walk away still not getting what we need. So you stay at that table, as frustrating, as exhausting as it may be, you advocate for what you believe you deserve. And so that's what my seat is supposed to help you do in Harrisburg.
And I agree with you because I recently contacted Delaware County Council concerning the morgue, the temporary morgue that's been placed in Ward 1. Have I been able to change that? Not yet. But guess what? They know my name and they have written me back. And every time they see my name now, we're having a dialogue. And it let me know it starts there. You might not get everything is not going to happen automatically, but you keep pushing, So
Exactly.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, advocacy is our biggest weapon, especially in disenfranchised communities. Advocacy. You got to know what you deserve. What is it that you deserve?
Right.
I know one of my platforms is speaking to the change because of the legacy of the family that's representing the 185th. And someone brought up a good point. Not everybody wants change, and that's fine. However, I will encourage people who are not looking for change, ask themselves, is this the best I deserve out of my legislation? And if the answer to that is yes,
Go with
then
it.
go with that.
Exactly.
Right.
And I agree with you 100% because that's the question that I am speaking to people about. I'm not telling you who to vote for. That's your personal, decision or choice. But if that seat has been held by a consistent family since 1977, just look around at your community and your circumstances. If you're okay with what you see and what you're getting,
Who am I to tell you different?
and if you're not,
Exactly.
it's just that simple.
I agree.
And then that brings me to our recognition in Darby Township, and that would be all 5 wards. With the 2020 census having, or actually taking place at this moment, I went online to their map. So it allows you to go state, city, town, township, down to the lowest denominator of what a community should be. Darby Township is not listed. I find that to be troublesome because I know with no designation is no dollar. So in other words, I'm a child. There's a parent out there getting Darby Township's money. So I'm wondering, is there a way going forward that we may be able to set up our own designation with its own postal code to be able to control our finances? Because how do I know they're giving us all the percentages we should be getting? It doesn't look like it to me.
That's a good point. I will say, to really get an idea of the making sure that you're getting what you need and having your questions answered, start with your local municipality. Start there and demand documents. Because here's something else in this work. People say a lot. So what people say cannot be traced. Whether it's in print can be traced.
Right. Sign your name on it. That's
exactly.
my sign
So
your
you
name.
have people document to you what those steps look like. And then, even when it comes to what they're able to do in terms of local control, ask them, how can you level up? So how can you add another level of conversation to ensure that you're getting the dollars, right? Because my thought process is everybody has to answer to somebody.
That's mine too.
Ultimately, everybody answers to the people, but if we're not staying at the table,
when we don't know the question to ask.
we don't know what question to ask. So even me as a mom, I mean, that's out there, my mom, I'm a wife, school-age children, so I teach my kids, you never leave a situation without getting the answers you want. I don't care how upset you are. Same thing. People will try to shame you based on what they think they know about you, right? Based on what they think they know about your history or your family or your past discretions. So people will try to shame you and lead you to believe that you shouldn't ask certain questions.
Or you don't have a right. That's none of your business.
Here's the deal.
can it not
You
be?
do have a right.
Right, and how can it not be none of your business?
But guess what? People say a lot, but it's what we respond to. So if you responded to someone saying, you know what, I'll get back to you, I'll let you know, or I don't know, and if we just walk around, walk away, and not getting our answers, that's really our fault.
No, that's true.
So to your question, if not you, question, if I go to a local municipality asking such questions and they're not able to give me the fullness of the landscape of what needs to happen, all right, before you leave that conversation, who else do I need to talk to? Right, from the state, because if you're saying at the local municipal level, this is the best you can do, who at the state?
Who's next? So then
at the state, oh, well, this is the best I can do, who's at the federal?
Next? Because everybody's got a boss in this game,
Everybody has
too.
a boss in this game. And guess what? If everybody is shunning you because for whatever reason, not everybody wants to do their job or...
She graduated from Darby Township, but we were out canvassing different communities and somebody...
Built it together. Let me tell you, this is the best team. I said, Lord, I'm so glad I chose the right team because this would be a nightmare.
People have been
go against them.
People have been attacking.
We just
you know we have to do. We stay focused.
You know where that comes from, though.
Well, that's the devil.
Yeah.
But sometimes we gotta call the devil before we hear. Sit yourself down. You had your chance. Now it's time to see what I can do.
And then what I don't understand, who fights about self-improvement? If you're trying to work with me to improve something, why would I fight with you?
Because it's a psychological breakdown. And so, like we kind of share, I was trying not to get so deep in here, but psychologically, enslavement begins in the mind. So if you're so used to being okay with the crumbs, you're like, I don't want to lose the crumbs because I might not get anything. Instead of saying, let me try to level up. And our people are so conditioned to just accept what exists. And it's like us, we're considered, I guess, rebel rowlers, but it's fine because, like I said, it's in our blood to be advocates and warriors. Like people, our ancestors fought to live through the, transatlantic,
the lean times
all
too.
that.
The lean
but they
times,
fought
they
for
tried
us.
to kill us.
They fought to live not because they thought it was so great for them. But they fought to live because they thought it was going to be so great for us. So we cannot afford to disappoint them.
Yeah, that's true.
So just know we're here.
Like that.
We're here for the residents. This is not about Marvin Smith. This is about
you
Regina
don't want.
Young.
That's what they don't get it either.
They're
He
so
don't want
distracted,
to see.
and y'all saw all the different things, the obstacles, whether it be the accusations or the non-support of this or support that. And I'm not here to tear anybody down. I'm trying to figure out, as we come together as a team, the team is growing. One thing I can say is that as long as we go forward the right way, you either have two options: get on board with us or watch us work.
That's it.
Because we want to keep working.
And don't get in the way though.
Don't get in the way.
Don't get in the way though.
Don't get in the way.
That's where I'm gonna have a problem though.
And people want to get in the way.
Get in the
They've been
way.
doing that.
Right.
But sometimes we'll go around them, or sometimes we'll go above you.
Right, right.
Like Michelle Obama said, when they go high, we go low.
You go low.
When they go low,
Right.
we go
We
high.
go high.
Right.
So at the end of the day, we're gonna do what we have to do: stay focused and keep it moving. Thank you.
I'm encouraged. Like I said, this isn't anything new to me. Advocacy is what I've been doing for years, and this is just another chapter. Like I love it. I love a good fight, right? Because the worst thing you could tell somebody with my particular background and upbringing
It's can't
no.
or no. Yeah.
Please don't tell me no, because only thing that's gonna do is
Make you
build
come back and figure
fire.
out, yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
I'm gonna prove to you that the yes should have been the first response.
Right.
I'm gonna prove to you that.
Let your actions speak.
Or if you telling me no,
Tell me
you
why.
gonna have to
Show me
prove
why.
that thing to
Prove
me.
why.
Right, so
Listen,
hardcore.
that's
You gonna
right.
make me believe that thing. So we have here the Philadelphia part of the 185th Legislative District. Darby Township and Delaware County will fall in about over there. And as I just mentioned in our question concerning the 2020 census, Darby Township isn't recognized there, and whole Delaware County isn't recognized on this entire map. So now that shows you if there's a recognition problem for these areas. Real or intentional, I don't know, but we're gonna find out. Something needs to be done about that. So I think we kind of finished up on how to handle our designation. That I know it wouldn't be an overnight sensation because it sounds kind of monumental. Like you don't just say, hey, make me a town and give me a post office with a postal code. I know it's steps involved. So that's something that I'm gonna stay on because I want to know where our money is, because I do feel like we've been robbed for generations.
And guess
not
what?
not years, generations.
And that's why it's important. Again, I'm going to reiterate this point because it's the truth. Advocacy in these communities are the biggest weapon. If you just walk away from the table still not getting what you need,
It's a problem.
it's a problem.
Yeah.
And guess what? Like I say oftentimes on my media platforms, the people in place are still cashing checks.
They sure are.
They still cashing checks, but what you're doing is allowing them to steal because they're not working for you.
Right. And
But
you
that's our fault.
and you and I, we had talked about crumbs. I call them crumbs. We can call them small niceties to the community, because in the last, I'm going to say 30 to 45 days, it's been this big brouhaha about meal giveaways in Darby Township. Well, I want to go on the record. Monday, we have a breakfast and lunch giveaway in 2 locations. Wednesday, breakfast and lunch giveaway in 2 locations and fill abundance in a location. Thursday, we have a church pantry. Saturday, we have a church pantry. Only missed 2 days out of a 7-day week. How much more food do we need? I find that tactic to be a distraction, because while I'm over here with the juice and the copies and maybe giving you a postage stamp here and there, you still got a creek that's not functional for your enjoyment if you wanted it. You still don't have a functional library hooked into a library system for you and your family enjoyment. I love to read. I love to sit in a library. I don't like to read at home if I don't have to. A library is such a pleasant place. We don't have a functional community center. So with you being elected to the 185th district, I'm calling it, can you help us get those things in formulation? Because obviously we don't know how.
So
We need help.
The quick answer to that is 100% yes, because again, that's my strength, right? Building community
Yes.
is one of my strengths. However, I will encourage you and people in your circle to not wait until January when I'm in office. People are still cashing checks
No.
twice
I
a
agree.
month now.
Yeah.
So you, again, the same formula that I just gave you, don't leave without getting answers. Why can't we have a functioning, effective, and efficient library in our community?
think
Why
that's
can't we
basic.
have a safe, beautifying space for our seniors to sit and grow in a community garden, vegetables and fruits?
Because I
Why
want a
can't-
community garden. That was on this list. I'm so glad you said that.
And why can't we have the youth playing in a safe, well-lit playground where they can get their, daily exercise?
Yeah.
These are easy asks that really should not take years. So I honestly don't think the conversation start at the state level. It really does
Start
begin at the
local.
municipal level. Right, so you're local. And then in order to get people involved in that conversation, I will say, talk to the neighbors. Get the neighbors to still, you're making calls, like you said, Delco knows your number. my response to that is be a vigilant advocate. So as vigilant as you are, you have a certain number that you call when you want pieces of information. Give it out to 10 of your friends, and then tell them to give it out to 10 of their friends. And then y'all keep calling about the same thing, because here's the deal. Everybody gets elected. I don't care how crazy people think, these particular seats are a dynasty, like it's just not right. No, we got to prove to them, no, the power lies with the people, but we're so disarmed and so scared to use what we have. Who do you fear, right? We walk around and say we don't fear anybody, but is that really true? No, you call them and you hold people accountable, because we're all created equal. Your strengths just look different from my strengths, but it doesn't mean I don't have strengths.
And I want to come back to something that you just said concerning advocacy, because that's another thing I'm trying to really educate the community in. Me and you right now, this is a conversation.
Right.
I can walk away and say, you said this or you said that, and maybe you said it, maybe you didn't.
That's why you gotta get it in writing, but go ahead.
And I tell them, put it in writing, sign your name on it. Then you come to Commissioner Smith, who then goes and says, well, no, I'm saying it, but it's these 20 people behind me. They sent me to say this.
Advocacy.
You all keep wanting to send this man to the table. And again, it's the distraction. Oh, he's a troublemaker. Whatever. He's only asking for what we asked him to ask. But because we won't sign our name, time, date, and stamp, it looked like, oh, ain't nobody said that. He just said that. And that's not true.
There is something.
And they need to do that. We need to get with that.
I shared something recently around our voyage. Just people of color, people of African Americans in this country generally. Not all Africans and African Americans were enslaved. I do know that. But I know my people were, and I'm oftentimes reminded that my ancestors did not survive the transatlantic ocean. They did not survive slavery. They did not survive segregation just for me to sit on my hands and still do nothing. Like, they fought for me to have this right to do amazing things. But the beautiful part is, it's more than just my family members, just more than just my ancestors. So we need to understand the power we have within us and the bloodline we have within us. We have some amazing people who want to see some great things in us. So they fought to stay alive long enough for us to be here today.
Yeah.
So advocacy is really in our blood.
Yeah.
We need to understand that and stop allowing people to say, here's what I'm going to give you, and say, no. Here's what I'm going to take, because it's my right.
Right. And here's what I say I want. Give it to me, because I can pull you the tax receipts from 2003 when I began paying them. You're not giving me anything. I've paid dearly for every constituent service in this ward.
Right.
So, yeah, and I need people to look at it like that too. Stop thinking people are giving you something. I don't care if it's sales tax. You pay into everything.
You pay into everything. Stop allowing people to minimize your existence.
Even with the stimulus, oh, they gave us something. No, you didn't, bruh. That was my unemployment money.
Right.
That was my tax dollar that done been up in y'all coffers forever. Thanks, though, for hooking me up. Like,
so, to your point, the townships, Darby Township, Paulwyn, Sharon Hill, and the same speaks to Philadelphia. This district can be so amazing if people understood the power they have. Now, one of the things I think is working in my favor is I'm inviting you to the table. I'm inviting you to be a part of the inclusive administration that I'm going to have. There is no, because you know my family. I don't know your family. You don't know my family because I
just
don't
met
even
you
live here.
when we meet her.
A few weeks ago.
So here's the deal. If our
Just met
goals
you.
align, that's my interest.
That's it.
Our approach to the goal doesn't have to match. But if our goals align, I'm going to stay at the table until that goal is met. If we need a reconstruction of the creek, we're going to figure it out together.
Because it can be done.
Everything can be done. If we
I've
need
seen it.
a viable community center where
Gotta
our
have it.
youth can be, safely play and probably, I don't even know if they call them latchkey kids anymore, but when kids have to go somewhere after school and have some recreational opportunities, seniors can have bingo night, whatever.
Because I'm
that
looking
could
for
be
grandparents
done.
like mentoring programs so the olders can know the youngers. Like,
All
we
that
don't
can
know
be
each other
done.
anymore.
All that can be done, but it starts here. If we're not the ones, meaning the community people are not the ones making, like hitting those drums and making that noise, why should anybody care?
Exactly.
When I did my thesis, the question that you always have to refer back to when you're writing any type of, I guess, paper, why should anybody care? So with each line, draw in why you should care about why I want whatever
it is. Yeah, that makes sense though. That makes total sense. Because back to what we were talking about, a long range plan for communities. You know, I'm sitting in my yard one day and I'm just thinking about geographically where we're located. And this is a gold mine.
Absolutely.
We're on 2 interstates. You can walk to the international airport on a good day right from where you and I are sitting right now. Stone's throw from the stadiums, 20-minute car ride from Center City. Do you think people don't want to take us down?
Of course.
To get this area, to turn it into something else?
And don't forget John Wildlife Refuge, the first, I think it's still the only urban wildlife refuge in the country.
I think so too.
And walking distance.
Walking distance.
If people don't understand their worth, they'll give away everything.
Yeah. Because this is a gold.
It's a
and that's the
gold
only reason why
mine.
I'm in the fight. Because it dawned on me. I said, girl, you must be crazy. You are sitting on an absolute gold mine. Y'all need to get it together.
And then think about it when people are trying to cause discourse, right? When people are trying to cause discourse, the first thing they do is try to minimize the very thing that they want. They try to minimize it.
Mm-hmm.
So this beautiful landscape, you have beautiful grown full trees which produce fresh air. Everybody should have trees. I think it's good for the air quality and everything. You have a water stream which is natural. You have a lot of natural
It's beautiful.
amenities. So what do? They desert it to make you think it's worthless, to get you disinterested and get you out of here.
Telling you, they working
That's what
on
people
it.
do. They minimize the words to say, for you to be like,
oh, that's trash. I don't want that.
It's like,
and then they'll come and turn, and you'll come back 10 years from now and say, wow, I used to live there.
And that's what happened in one of the districts, especially in South Philly, and I know that's starting to happen in Southwest now.
Yes.
But there's vigilant people, so, the counties just have to get on board. Listen, the things that I'm sharing with you today is not rocket science, right? None of this stuff is rocket science.
Correct.
This is stuff that everybody was born with, which is an innate, a strong feeling to want to survive and progress. That man's law hierarchy of needs, that applies to all of us. We all basically want the same thing. Stop allowing people to minimize what you deem valuable.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I'm not the best example of it, but you know how when you're getting dressed up, right? You're going to the prom or you're going somewhere. You're going out looking for the outfits. You're making sure you have your hair appointment, your face done, your mani-pedi and all of that. And then you get out and you look in the mirror. You're just feeling so good about yourself. And then maybe your date or maybe some girlfriends, why you wear those shoes?
Yeah, throw it on.
And then it's like, wait a minute, 2 minutes ago I thought I was kind of fly. And then somebody else.
Somebody throw doubt.
And now you start questioning your choices. That doesn't work with me. I'm not the best to attack in that manner, I'll say that. Because I am I'm confident in who Regina is. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. And I have learned that people want to see you sweat.
Yes.
And my goal is to never let you see me sweat. So
not if I can help it.
It would be a mistake and a bad use of time to try to do that. However, I think people need to understand. Don't allow people to distract you with what they think about you. You show them who you are. Right. You don't have to talk around telling people. Just show them.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about this whole primary election. we can show better than I'm gonna ever tell, because I'm not making up any of these issues we're sitting here talking about. And anybody who lives here, something as simple as this creek, you can walk right down here where I'm sitting, look at it. Am I telling the truth or am I telling a fable? What am I doing?
That's why I love the era in which we live in
With
right
the
now.
social
The digital
media and everything.
I
so
love
quick.
it. Everything is fact checked. So I know I say it a lot on my social media platforms, and I guess I have to do. Well, my team is amazing at just responding to people, but I never like to respond because the truth always defends itself.
This is true.
And recently, well, actually, just yesterday, I said on my platform,
Getting on board and understanding that we have to do better. You
Yeah,
know,
we
and
do.
if you want better, you have to come out and not just talk about it. Like Terry says all the time, if you don't document it, it never happened. You know,
Exactly.
there's no reason for our creek to look like
I
this,
know that's
our
right.
streets to look like this, even us being under repair.
And this
they need
is
to
a
cover it up
eyesore
and
right
properly
here.
fix it up. You
and
know,
nobody lives
move
there.
the trash
there was a
properly.
fire there.
Fire there maybe a month or so ago,
Yeah.
and we know that they're quarantined, but at the end of the day, there's
Yeah.
things that still can be done,
Exactly.
even to
Exactly.
preserve it and make it not so much of an eyesore. So
Yeah, that's
I am
what it
glad that
is.
you are coming out, and unlike our other, the opponent that wants to seek the seat again, she
Y'all
don't
ain't seen
come
her
out.
yet. I
She
ain't
don't
seen
come
her
out.
out. Not
You know,
like this.
In this particular electoral race, because I know people are mad. I'm running against a family that has been present for a very long time.
Almost 20 years. Am I right?
Well, it's 10 for her because a special election people keep forgetting about. And then her husband was there, and then her brother-in-law. So the family
goodness,
has
I didn't
represented
realize
that
that.
chair. I can send you the stats, but it is on. It's all around. That's public knowledge.
Okay.
So he's been in the chair since '77. So the family has influenced the seat and represented the seat since '77. However, what I will say is, imagine first time someone running against this particular rep in particular, the whole time she's been there. Don't you think if they could have found something to get me on, they would have? So I love it because it's frustrating. It's so frustrating to doubt the truth.
Yeah.
So what you do is you try to spin it and say, oh no, here's what I heard. I don't care what you heard. What do you see?
Yeah.
What can you find?
If I can interject, I have a question that was asked of you on social media, and the question is, what's your history? What connections do you have to benefit this district? What will you do differently than the present state representative? Longevity does not equate to wrong or ineffective. What's your story? Well, when I came in contact with you, you addressed that some of your concerns are some of my concerns, city versus county. For example, when I look at the library in Darby Township, and then I look at the library in various parts of Philadelphia, in particular in the 185th district, the library down there, you have a sitting area, you have functioning computers, you have nice restrooms, you have books, you have well-lit environment, it's a nice safe haven. And my concern is basically when you're allocated monies or when there's monies available, that monies are being spent fairly across the district.
Absolutely.
Not just in one particular area. And this is not about black or white,
I agree.
Republican or Democrat. This is basically saying not just your fair due, but expectations are, if it's good over there, it should be great over here.
Absolutely.
When I look at the libraries, when I look at the streets, when I look at the parks, and I looked at monies being spent at $10 million pocketbook, for example, whereas to $8.5 million was spent in a certain section in Philadelphia. But when you come over here to Delaware County area, it's like monies were not spent, and if it was spent, it wasn't for the betterment for the whole environment of the community. We have residents that are walking around asking questions. Can we get speed bumps? How can we slow the traffic down? So when they say, what are you bringing to the table? I would think out of fairness, I would bring with your history of working in schools and working with parents and grandparents, perhaps even working under Miss Maria Donatucci at one time. It's very important that we understand that we all can help assist in the matter. So I thank you for meeting with us and answering the questions that were asked of you. And I'm just saying, as a newly elected commissioner, that it's definitely time for a change. We can no longer look at the Darby Creek in Darby Township, the global condition. You know, the streets are messed up. You know, our highway. When you come off of 84 from Lindbergh, the first street is Hook Road. And as a state representative for years, I'm quite sure that you had to fill the bumps. We talk about the wildlife, you know, social activities for our senior citizens, a safe haven for our children, a community center. Yes, there's monies available, and then to tell me, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. But as a leader, it's our job to find things for people and see what they want, and then let's figure out how we can get it together. You know, so at no time do I look at the race card, or are we looking at a political boundary? Because at the end of the day, we all must come together as leaders and make decisions for the betterment of our community. So to answer one of the questions, what is that you'd like to bring to the community of Delaware County, Darby Township, Conwin, Sharon Hill? You know, what avenues would you like to see our strengths brighter?
So, to your question as it relates specifically to the counties, I will say the important piece is to understand what are the priority needs of the counties, right? So Colwyn priority needs look a little different from Darby Township's priority needs and Sharon Hill's priority needs. I think part of the issue is political leaders or whoever are identified leaders, they're just so used to just going to who they are used to talking to, as opposed to having inclusive, open conversations with community members.
Right.
Because the people are the ones who are going to be able to help maintain whatever is in place, right?
For example, another thing, Ms. Quarles was speaking about abundance of food, or not abundance, food being brought to our community all of a sudden. We always had food. No one in Darby Township, Darby, Sharon Hill, Collindale is starving, or Colwyn is starving for anything, any type of food. We have resources. Now, to take state funds, walk around money, to put it out for police cars, that's not a major need. I would think that if I had money, I would put it to a great need. We have municipalities that fire departments are struggling. Fire departments are struggling all over the state. They're volunteer fire companies. My neighboring community, their fire department is presently closed. But the current state representative took money and donated a police car when that money should have went to a fire department. Get the fire department up and running because they need financial assistance. So that's when we can use the word misappropriation of funds. Not that no one was stealing any money, but was placed in the wrong pocketbook. You know, here in Darby Township, we have a volunteer fire company that was just recently addressed. Oh, what do you need? We needed things months ago, years ago, but it's election time and now you want to help us. We need your help. Come help us. But we need you to help us on a daily basis. Volunteers, they need help. So I'm glad that you are running for state representative and you have my 100% support. And believe it or not, there's many residents around here that see the change that I myself as a commissioner and my team has already implemented. We got some greater things coming. Because we're quarantined and social distancing, we can't do so much. But right now, what I tell you this, as sure as this thing is over, we're going to hit the ground running, and we're going to run with you. And I'm asking all the residents of Darby Township, Sharon Hill, Conwin, Southwest Philadelphia, and South Philadelphia to vote for Regina Young based on the facts.
Thank you.
The facts is we all need a change. It's time for a change, and we must make that change today. For 185th District, State Representative, vote for Regina Young on June 2nd. I am Commissioner Marvin Smith, and I approve this message.
Yep. Here we go.